everyone. Today we talk about the recent developments at the line of actual control between India and China in Pangong So in the end of the month of August. India and China have unsettled borders and the perception of the line of actual control differs in multiple sectors including on Pangong So. On 29 August 2020 night, the Indian Army thwarted an attempt by China to change the status quo near the line of actual control by deploying its troops to a previously undeployed area on the southern bank of the Pangong So Lake in eastern Ladakh. As per the Indian Army statement, despite the previous consensus arrived at between India and China during several rounds of military and diplomatic talks, on the night of August 29-30, 2020, PLA troops carried out provocative military movements to change the status quo. In response to this violation of the previous consensus by the Chinese side, Indian troops pre-empted the PLA activity on the southern bank of the Pangong So Lake. Measures were undertaken by the Indian Army which helped in strengthening our positions and thwarted Chinese intentions to unilaterally change facts on the ground. Though India is fully committed to maintaining peace and tranquility through dialogue, it is equally determined to protect its territorial integrity. The brigade level talks are in progress to resolve this matter, Indian Army said. Despite several media queries, the Indian Army has said it will not share any operational details in order to maintain operational security. As we all know, since May 2020, the standoff between the two armies has been going on, and since then several rounds of military and diplomatic talks have taken place in an effort to resolve the matter peacefully. There have been many rounds of partial disengagements too, which never has been complete, and the talks have failed to end the ongoing tensions between the two countries. Efforts were made at partial disengagement in July at Galvan Valley and Patrolling Point 15, limited disengagement at Patrolling Point 17A in Gogra Hot Springs, but it has hardly taken off at Pangong So. Currently, People's Liberation Army have moved from the base of Finger 4, the mountain spur, to Finger 5, and they continue to occupy the ridge lines of Finger 4. Massive mobilization by the Chinese side has been undertaken along the line of actual control, and structures have been built along the LAC and have deployed a large number of missile systems, tanks, artillery, among others. Thus, we see that Pangong Lake has been among the most contentious sectors in the ongoing military standoff in eastern Ladakh for nearly 4 months now. But the activity until now had been restricted to the northern bank, but on the night of 29th August, it has been extended to the southern bank too. Now let's have a look at the geography of Pangong Lake. Pangong So is an endorheic lake, meaning landlocked, that is partly in India's Ladakh region and partly in Tibet. The name reflects the mixed heritage of the lake. Pangong in Ladakhi means extensive concavity, and the word So is Tibetan for lake. Situated at an elevation of about 4,270 meter, it is a nearly 135 km long narrow lake, 6 km at its widest point, and shaped like a boomerang. Its total area is over 600 square kilometer. The Karakoram mountain range, which crosses Tajikistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, China and India with heights of over 6,000 meters including K2, the world's second highest peak, ends at the northern bank of Pangong So. Its southern bank too has high broken mountains sloping towards Spangur Lake in the south. The lake's water, while crystal clear, is brackish, making it undrinkable. The lake freezes during the winter, allowing some vehicular movement on it as well. Nearly 2/3 of the lake is controlled by China, with just up to 45 km under Indian control. The LAC running north-south cuts the western part of the lake aligned east-west. But India-China have unsettled borders, and the perception of the LAC differs in multiple sectors like the northern bank and the southern bank. At the lake's north bank, according to India, the international boundary is close to Kurnak Fort, a 19th century ruin, but the LAC according to China is around 15 km west. On the north bank are spurs that jut into the lake identified as fingers. India says LAC passes through finger 8. China claims it is farther west. Compared to the northern bank, the difference in perception of the LAC is not very wide in the southern bank. A former brigade commander from the region said the perception may differ by just 100 to 200 meter and lacks prominent features like fingers which are otherwise seen in the northern bank. These differing perceptions of the LAC, as the army has called it, are one of the main causes of face-offs. Coming to the current status of the Pangong So, The North Bank was one of the 2 points in eastern Ladakh that saw friction in early May 2020 that led to the standoff that is now nearly 4 months old. On the night of May 5-6, troops were involved in violent hand-to-hand fights, though Chinese soldiers were armed with rods and nail-studded batons. There was a similar fight in Galvan Valley on May 6. However, these violent face-offs did not result in any fatalities, unlike the June 15 clash in Galvan Valley, in which India lost 20 soldiers and an undeclared number of Chinese troops were also killed. Since then, China changed the status quo and its troops had occupied the region between Finger 8 and Finger 4, which was patrolled by both but occupied by neither side earlier. Now these face-offs which we have talked about is at the northern bank of the Pangong Tso. So until the last weekend of the month of August, the south bank had been quiet during the standoff. Army sources said India has traditionally had a stronger presence in the southern bank compared to the north bank because of its proximity to the areas like Chushul and Rezengla, which are strategically important for both countries. The area known as Chushul Approach is one of the few sectors that can be used as launch pads for an offensive because of the plains. During the 1962 conflict, both banks witnessed a Chinese offensive and India lost territory on both. But what provoked the Indian Army on the night of 29th August is that there had been some movement of the PLA soldiers in the Chushul sector, and as a precautionary measure and to deal with any misadventure by the Chinese side, the Indian Army had to reposition its troops in the area. Sources have said that around 25 PLA troops who were intruding across the LAC have been blocked by the Indian soldiers. Though there has been no physical clash reported across the LAC below Blacktop Hill, 100 PLA troops have been seen. As has been reported, there is massive buildup of troops and machines on both sides as they get ready to stay there during winters. The Army Chief General M.M. Naravne, who had been reviewing operational preparedness in eastern Ladakh on 4th September 2020 said, "The situation along the line of actual control is tense. In preemptive moves to scuttle Chinese plan, Indian troops raced to occupy heights on the south bank of Pangong Tso and Rechinla near Rezangla, giving them a commanding view of the terrain including the China's Moldo garrison and prevent any attempt to ingress via the Spangur Gap. Indian and Chinese brigade commanders have been meeting regularly ever since, but the talks have not made much headway. The brigade commanders met for around 3 hours on 4th September, their 5th meeting since 31st August. The Army General further said, "We have undertaken precautionary deployment in some areas. The troops are prepared for all contingencies that may arise. All these actions have been carried out only along the LAC." He expressed confidence that India and China can find a resolution to the 4-month military standoff via talks. Over the past 3 months, both sides are engaged in resolving the situation. Military and diplomatic channels are functioning, and the Indian side is firmly committed to resolve the current situation along the LAC through engagement. We will continue to utilize all existing mechanisms to reduce tension and to ensure that the status quo is not unilaterally changed. He further said, "It was very satisfying to see our soldiers and local commanders in high morale and good health," adding it gave him confidence that they are well prepared to safeguard the territorial integrity of our nation. Indian Army is known for its commitment and resolve, and the nation can count on us, he said. Meanwhile, a day earlier, Air Chief Marshal Bhadauria visited the Hasimara and Kalaikunda bases in West Bengal. The Indian Air Force in a statement said he visited bases of the Eastern Air Command where air officers commanding apprised him of the readiness state and operational preparedness of the combat units under their command. With its headquarters in Shillong, the Eastern Air Command is responsible for the border with China in the east. Further, on the day when Army Chief General M.M. Naravne reached forward areas in eastern Ladakh to review operational preparedness, Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat warned of the two-front threat from China and Pakistan, but said Indian armed forces were fully prepared to deal with it. Speaking at the US-India Strategic Partnership Forum conclave on 3rd September, General Rawat said, "China and Pakistan have been collaborating militarily, economically and diplomatically. Chinese economic cooperation with Pakistan in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, along with continued military, economic and diplomatic support, mandate high levels of preparation by us. This also poses the threat of coordinated action along the northern and western fronts, which we have to consider in our defense planning. We have devised strategies to deal with the primary front, and the other front would be secondary." Further, referring to China, General Rawat said, Should any threat develop along our northern borders, Pakistan could take advantage of that and create some trouble on the western border, and therefore we have taken adequate precautions to ensure that any such misadventure by Pakistan is thwarted and they are not able to succeed in their mission. In fact, they may suffer heavy losses should they attempt any misadventure. Referring to rising Chinese influence in East, Southeast and South Asia, General Rawat said India's policy of engagement, if not backed by credible military power and regional influence, would imply acknowledging China's preeminence and influence in the subcontinent and the Indian Ocean region. Meanwhile, the Defence Minister of India, Rajnath Singh, and his Chinese counterpart, General Wei Fenghe, met in Moscow on 4th September on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization's meeting and had frank and in-depth discussions about the developments in the India-China border areas as well as on India-China relations. During the nearly 2.5-hour meeting, India told China that the actions of the Chinese troops, including amassing of large number of troops, their aggressive behavior and attempts to unilaterally alter the status quo were in violation of the bilateral agreements and not in keeping with the understandings reached between the special representatives of the two sides. Singh stated clearly that while the Indian troops had always taken a very responsible approach towards border management, at the same time there should be no doubt about our determination to protect India's sovereignty and territorial integrity. He also advised that it was important therefore that Chinese side should work with the Indian side for complete disengagement at the earliest from all friction areas including Pangong Lake, as well as de-escalation in border areas in accordance with the bilateral agreements and protocols on maintenance of peace and tranquility in border areas, strictly respect and observe the line of actual control and should not make attempts to unilaterally change the status quo. However, the Chinese Defense Ministry's statement quoted Wei as saying that the responsibility of the tensions lies entirely with India. Both the countries should focus on the overall situation of India-China relations and work together to de-escalate the situation as soon as possible and maintain peace and tranquility in the India-China border areas. He further said, China's territory cannot be lost. Chinese military is fully determined, capable and confident to safeguard national sovereignty and territorial integrity. Under the current situation, border peace and stability are of vital importance to bilateral relations, and the two countries should maintain open channels for dialogue at all levels of the military and diplomacy between the two sides and resolve issues peacefully through dialogue and consultation. On the backdrop of the rising tensions between India and China, US President Trump has come forward to help mediate to resolve the dispute between India and China. He told reporters, the situation is very nasty. The two countries are going at it much more strongly than a lot of people can even understand. However, China has said that there is no need for a third party to mediate, and India has also appeared cool to the idea. It's also noteworthy that there are opinions from the experts that the provocations caused by China at the line of actual control is actually due to the India's friendliness with US amid the rising US-China Cold War, and this is most probable to continue till the US presidential elections to be held in the month of November. The Chinese government continues its provocation at the LAC through its mouthpiece Global Times on 5th September, claiming that we must remind the Indian side that China's national strength, including its military strength, is much stronger than India's. Although China and India are both great powers, when it comes to the ultimate competition of combat capability, the Indian side will lose. If a border war starts, India will have no chance of winning. It further states that Indian public opinion is too deeply and widely involved in border issues. The Indian troop has been obviously kidnapped by domestic nationalism. Therefore, in addition to the joint control of the border dispute between China and India, India should also manage public opinion and nationalism and make the best choice for its country and its people. The problem now is that India has drawn an aggressive line on the border issue, misinterpreting China's desire to maintain peace and stability on the border as a weakness that can be exploited by threatening to wage a border war at any cost. And we are very well aware that this statement by the Chinese government is in perfect conformity with the media warfare, which is a part of the 3W strategy of China, the other two being legal and psychological. And that's all for today. Thank you.